this opportunity. It's truly an honor to be used, and hopefully I can help somebody change their life here today. But to be among the stage with this incredible leadership, and thank you to the corporate marketing team. It's an honor. They asked me to share my story with you today, and I'd like to do that. Before I share my story, though, there's 4 things that have helped me truly get through life, and I think it's important when I share my story to share kind of a little bit farther back so you understand maybe a little bit more about me, and maybe I can relate to some things. But through adversity, there's 4 things that I always think of. 1, if it brings you closer to God, it's a good thing, so it's all in how you look at things. 2, no excuses. There's never no excuses. All things are possible, and never quit. And so those are the kind of things that I do when I'm thinking through things or have adversities. First of all, just purpose in life. I truly believe that I had a purpose. I was premature. I was 3 months premature, and I told my mother that I wouldn't live. And she was very passionate and had a lot of faith. That's where I learned that from. And she yelled at them quite nicely and said that I would live, and I did. And so I truly think that I'm here for a purpose, just like all of us are. We didn't get here by accident. We're here for a purpose. Next, and then you think that when I was 3 years old, I was kidnapped. And so I definitely know that I'm here for a purpose, because someone stole a vehicle that I was in, and I woke up and they hit me from behind. And so I definitely know that I'm here for a purpose after being premature and then in a car accident when I was kidnapped when I was 3 years old. Then my parents split up. That was always really difficult for me, because I always wanted to be in a family where my mother and father were together, and so they split when I was very young. In 4th grade, my mom got diagnosed with cancer, stage 4 cancer, Hodgkin's disease. My mom was my very, very, very best friend. I always say if I can be a quarter like her, I'm truly blessed, because I learned everything from my mom. She's just the most amazing individual I've ever met. And then there was molestation in my household. And my mom had cancer and 3 kids, and she didn't know what to do. Extremely strong woman, but she couldn't at that moment just walk away. And so our solution was that I would move out. And I moved out when I was 14 years old and lived on my own with a job, with all the bills, and I was in middle school. So it truly built a lot of strength in me, and I think it was preparing me to be, what I am today. And so again, I look at it as something good. And when I think about my life, I never, if I had to write my life, I may not have written it this way, but if I had to rewrite it, I wouldn't change a thing. And so, thank you. And I moved out when I was 14, and then as a freshman in high school, I actually bought my first condo. It was a studio condo in Irvine, California. And then, unfortunately, though, that was a good thing, but then my mother's husband left her with cancer and 3 kids and canceled her insurance. And so my mother moved in with me, and if you can picture that, there's 4 children on a Murphy bed, and then we put a bed in the living room, and my mother stayed in the living room with her oxygen tank, and she was extremely sick with cancer. So I pretty much raised my brothers and sisters till they were 2, 6, and 7. And then in high school, I got in a car accident, and we actually were traveling on a mountainside in the mountains, and the gentleman was trying to hurry home. And so he swerved to miss a car, and we hit the side of the mountainside, and then we flipped literally off a cliff. And thank God, another blessing is if we would have flipped probably about 25 more feet, we would have fell 1,200 feet. And how I stopped on the embankment is only a true blessing. I got airlifted to intensive care. I was in the hospital for about 2 months, and I had internal bleeding. I lacerated my spleen, fractured my shoulder, dislocated my hip, and damaged my back as well in that accident, and they said that I would never walk again. And so I'm in high school, and I just couldn't accept that. And so I said I want an electric wheelchair, and we picked it up, and we put it in the back of the car, and I would roll around high school in my wheelchair. But sure enough, I talked them into trying out for soccer even when I was in my wheelchair, because I told them I will walk again. And sure enough, I did. I walked again. I was city champ, lettered in every single sport. But it just wasn't an option for me. And so then, unfortunately, 2 months after, and I remember my mom got sick. She looked at me in my eyes, and she told me, stage 4 cancer, they gave her 6 months to live, and she told me, I will see you graduate. And 2 months after I graduated high school, my mom passed away. And my mom is truly my why in this business. I have 3 of them that are really important. And I consider you guys family. Privy Legal has truly turned into my family. And so a poem that I wrote when my mom passed away, I'd like to share with you, because it's really my why, and that's what I'm going to end with. I thought I heard your voice today, something I've been praying. I turned around to call your name to ask what you were saying. I stopped and gazed at the faces, but what I should have known. I'll never look that way again, and theirs was not shown. Recalling your expressions as I try to keep them near. There's nothing else for me to lose now that you're no longer here. Sometimes I think of giving up, yet I know how you held on. There's nothing else for me to lose now that you've gone. Holding on to memories, not looking towards the end, but we played the game of fate and I lost a loving friend. Still thinking of you always, for today I almost cried. I try to think of how you lived the day before you died. And I do. I think of my mom all the time, and that's what gets me through it. So after my mom passed, I just was determined to make my life something that she would be proud of me. I went on, after my accident, I walked. I became Miss Fitness LA, which was a huge struggle for me because I told them I would walk again, and they didn't believe me, and so I'd go to the gym by myself, and one day my toe moved, and that was it. I was like, I'm going to walk again, and so I did. And then my friend said that people train for years for this, and I had 10 weeks for the competition, and she challenged me. That's another thing you don't do. Don't tell me I can't do something. And so I said, okay, I'm going to do it, and I won Miss Fitness LA, so I thought that was awesome. And then, unfortunately, though, thank you, I traveled all over the world modeling and acting, which I absolutely loved, but then I got in another car accident. And who would think that 2 accidents would happen to one person? And again, they told me I'd never walk again. I was traveling home from LA, and I got hit. It was a hit and run. There was no settlement. I always hear that. So all my savings was gone. And I was in the hospital for 6 months, and I had no speech, no memory, no bladder. I had to learn how to talk again. I had to learn, they wanted me to have elastic shoelaces, and instead I tied them with my teeth and my hands. And just, again, had a will to walk again. I had done it once, and I said I was going to walk again. And so I went through that struggle. And in that, being disabled, I tell people we all have a disability. Mine's just visible. And so I just try to keep striving to get better and walking again. So after my accident, I was assaulted. This is the first time I thought I felt helpless. The first time, everything always was never, I'm just me, this is just the way I am. But for that to happen, took a lot for me to get through that. But again, I thought of those 4 things that, what is life if you're just going to give up? Just keep going, and everything does happen for a reason. And I've definitely been used as a testimonial and a vehicle. And so then I was blessed. I was in a relationship, and we were getting married and so on and so forth, and I got pregnant with my 2 boys, which again are my absolute blessings. They're my second wife. My children are everything that I live for. Those are my boys. And he told me either them or him. And I definitely picked with my faith my boys, and thank God I did. Unfortunately, after my boys were born, I didn't have anywhere to go. My job had fired me because I was on high risk when I was pregnancy, and I had to go to therapy all the time. And so they fired me, and I didn't have a job, and didn't have anywhere to go. So if you could picture being, in a wheelchair with twin boys, 5 weeks old, nowhere to live. We lived in my car, and they're infants, they sleep all the time, And so I had my car seats in the back, and we'd be outside a lot, and we got through it. Luckily, I had tremendous friends and blessings that took me in, and then I got my life started. And I won Miss Black California USA, and that's another funny story. Somebody gave me a card, and they told me that, they would like me to be in the contest. And then one of my friends said that I couldn't compete against able-bodied people, that I should do Miss Wheelchair California. I was like, really? Okay, well, I don't think so. And so then I competed in Miss Black California, and I won Miss Black California. And I share all that, you guys, because there's always a story behind the story. And if you don't have those, it doesn't mean that you can't. Just learn from other people's examples, read more books, do the personal development yourself, and learn from other people's experiences. Before being legal, I was in corporate America. I could not stand it. I could not stand someone telling me when I could eat, when I could sleep, when I could drink, use the restroom. Sometimes, somehow they knew you were sick, 10 days out of the year. I never knew how they'd figure that out. So I decided there has to be something different, and so I opened up my own business. I opened up a florist, which I absolutely loved. It was more creative for me. had made great money, but I just had no time. And so that's why I truly was blessed when I was given this opportunity, because nobody could dictate my life anymore or tell me what I was worth. But what this company really means to me is the priceless feeling it gives me. I get to empower people with a membership. I literally have people crying, calling me crying, thanking me for this membership. And I get to help people's dreams come true. And dreams really do come true. I bought my first 4,000 square foot home in Orange County, California. I'm a single parent. I get to stay home with my boys and raise them, work hard now to leave them a legacy. And I just have an incredible opportunity to make a passive residual income, an incredible one, and still lay my head down at night and know that I make a difference. And I just thought, you know, what else did I do in life that I could make a difference? So you guys, this business is absolutely incredible. Please don't take it for granted. You know, one of the most important things about this business is the family that's created. I've created tremendous friends and people that I literally consider my family. I remember corporate America, when the job was over, you just wanted to go home, you know, and this, I want them to come home with me. And so we truly have created friends and family. But I tell you, when you're thinking about this business, I always think about this. If you had a jar of marbles sitting next to your bed, and you don't know how many is in there, there's just a jar of marbles, and every single day you had to take one of those marbles out, and when they were empty, your life would end. Would you live your life any different? I definitely would, and so that's why I live by this. And that's why I have a philosophy of no excuses. Because through my life, who would have thought I would have been to an accident? Who would have thought I would have been homeless and a single parent? I mean, just who would have written my life like this? But even though I'm paralyzed and I can't just jump out when I see someone, you know, sharp and expose them right away, I still am in Players Club. Even though I have no time, I go to therapy 1 to 3 times a day, you know, and raise my kids and do prepaid legal. I still won trips to Cancun. I still own a $1.5 million home. I still do all the things that you guys can do. Even though I'm on medication and some days it's hard to get out of bed and I'm in pain all the time, I still do my exposures and my 10 core commitments. Even though, you know, I'm constantly in pain, my kids are still in private school. You know, what is your excuse? You know, what are you waiting for? So, thank you. And I could, they're gonna kick me off. I mean, I could go on, single parent, I could go on, but what are you waiting for? And so, you know, I'm gonna end with these 2 things. A story that really hit home with me, the grandmother that lifted up the car because her grandson was under it. And she said, and she didn't want to see any reporters, and finally one showed up there and she was putting him off, and she said to him, you know, why don't you want to do the story? And she said, because at my age, when you finally do something that you thought was completely impossible, what would happen if you just tried to do it? What would happen in your life if you just tried to do things? And I recruited an associate. Her biggest why was her daughter. She wanted to help her daughter. And 2 weeks after she enrolled with our company, her daughter passed away. What are you waiting for? And so all those things, there's no excuse in the book that will stop me from making my mom proud, that'll stop me from having everything that I want for my children, and it'll stop me from walking. Because I will walk again. This vehicle is giving me the opportunity to do that. And so with this, you guys are my family. I want to tell you my improvements. I can move my toe now. I can move my leg. I have feeling back in my hip. This pin right here is from the South County Chamber of Commerce supporting Tracy Broughton's Walk in March. In front of all of you guys, I want to tell you I will walk in March, and I want to share with you. God bless you guys. I'll see you at the top. Thank you.